We're very committed to giving our students very practical experience in the arts, very hands-on learning.
There's certainly been a lot of opportunity to write music and have my music performed, which is really important.
We have a lot of performance opportunities that at a conservatory I would not be singing the lead at. Being able to perform a role as a sophomore and be like on the main stage is like amazing, a blessing.
Anything I was interested in, I could find a way to apply to what I wanted to do in the professional world. And so that didn't have to limit myself.
We've also got brilliant faculty who are doing really interesting creative work. It's a really vibrant place. It's a very diverse place on JMU's campus.
So we bring all of this great expertise to our teaching in our classrooms. We're dedicated to our students sharing this kind of research and enthusiasm with them.
JMU is definitely intentional about helping students foster their passion.
So it's our synergy, it's our working together and dedicating ourselves to the undergraduate education.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Sheena Ramirez, and I'm the Director of Recruitment for the College of Visual and Performing Arts here at James Madison University. On behalf of everyone here in the College of Visual and Performing Arts, we are so excited to welcome you to our second Virtual Choices live panel, where we'll be talking with 3 faculty members, one from the School of Art Design and Art History, one from the School of Music, and one from the School of Theater and Dance. They'll be answering your questions tonight about what it's like to be a student, whether you have been admitted academically and artistically to the College of Visual and Performing Arts, or whether you're someone who is interested in double majoring or minoring, or just wanting to continue to have the arts be an important part of your life when you come to JMU. We also have several of our CVPA student ambassadors and our current students and some alumni who are participating as commenters in the comment section of both YouTube Live and Facebook Live, as well as some faculty members and some staff members. So if you guys would like to introduce yourselves, please say hello in the comment section. They'll be answering questions as well. But without further ado, I would like to introduce our 3 panelists for this evening. Our first panelist is Professor of Art Corinne Diop. She's our photography area head, as well as the Associate Director of the School of Art Design and Art History. We have Professor Scott Rikkers, who is the Assistant Director of Bands and Director of the Marching Royal Dukes in the School of Music. And we have Dr. Dennis Beck, Professor of Theater and Theater History and Dramatic Literature in the School of Theater and Dance. Welcome you all, and thank you so much for being here today to talk to our prospective students. We're going to go ahead and get started with some questions as we wait for some questions coming in from our students on the YouTube Live and the Facebook Live sessions coming in. But we'll get started with a question for Scott. Scott, can you describe some of the performance opportunities for first-year students?
Sure, Sheena, thank you so much for the question, and thank you to everyone who's joined us this afternoon, hopefully on YouTube and Facebook. This is going to be an informative session for you. In the School of Music, it offers a wide variety of ensemble opportunities or performance opportunities for our students, both music majors and non-majors. Large ensembles, we offer 3 wind bands. We have orchestras as well as the choral ensembles. We also have, of course, the Marching Royal Dukes for everyone who's interested in a little bit of marching band in the fall. We have a great jazz program with a jazz ensemble and jazz bands, as well as a number of chamber jazz combos that rehearse in the fall and spring semesters. Percussion ensemble and a steel drum program. We have a wonderful brass band, a nationally and internationally recognized brass band program, as well as chamber ensembles for winds and strings, and of course our a cappella program, which is related to the School of Music, and there are many opportunities for singers to be involved with that as well.
Awesome, and those are all things that you can definitely get involved in your first year as performance major in the School of Music. Dennis, can I ask you the same question? What are some of the performance opportunities for first-year students in the School of Theater and Dance?
Excuse me. For dance majors, we have the Associate Ensemble Group Dance, as well as the Student Dance Concert. And for theater and musical theater majors, we have 2 main stage musicals, 3 main stage plays. We have plays in the studio theater as well as a workshop series. So all told, there's about 20 theater productions a year.
Wow, amazing. All right, Corinne, this next question is for you. What kind of arts classes will arts majors be taking in their first year?
Well, Sheena, it's exciting. There's a new cohort for a global art history class that's actually for all our majors, art history, art and design. And then the art and design students all take foundations classes, which include 2-dimensional design, 3-dimensional design, and 2 drawing classes. So that really builds a framework for all of those degrees in art and design.
Great. This next question is for Dennis. So Dennis, how can someone be involved in the performing arts as a non-major? And you have to unmute yourself.
Sorry about that. As a non-major, there are on the dance side, actually opportunities that are rare for the occasional minor, but most of the dance performance opportunities are for majors. On the theater and musical theater side, however, all the performances are available to non-majors.
Excellent. And Scott, I'm going to pass that same question on to you. What are some of the performance opportunities available to non-majors in the School of Music?
Sure, a great question. I think one of the aspects of our music program that makes JMU unique and important to me, especially for the arts, is that our ensembles are open to all majors. The important thing to understand is that there are certain ensembles for which you have to audition. For example, the Wind Symphony, the Symphonic Band, the Chorale, the orchestra, the jazz groups. But then there are also non-audition ensembles that students can participate in. But ultimately, any performing opportunity that we offer in the School of Music is open to all students regardless of major.
That's great. All right, we're going to turn to some of the questions that we're getting from our students and parents online. So the first question comes from Lori, and this is an art question, so it's going to be directed to Corinne. So the question is, what type of opportunities are available to someone who has a love for photography and wants to take a variety of photography classes, potentially obtaining a minor, but majoring in a different area?
Right, yes, that's a good question, Lori. You could do an art minor that requires the foundations classes of 2- and 3-dimensional design. And then you do take art electives, so you could fill up on photography classes, and it does require that you have 2 upper-level classes, and that sounds like you know what they would be in, art photography. And we do offer both digital and traditional photography with a full black and white darkroom and alternative processes, as well as large format printers for digital. The other suggestion I would have is to consider a double major with possibly a BA or BS in art with the criminal justice track. I'm guessing maybe it's a BS. I don't know. I'd have to double check on that. But often the degree requirements would be the same. So your university electives could go back and forth between the 2 degrees, and you could finish actually in 4 years.
Yeah, that's one of the really great things about the studio art program is flexibility to choose between a bachelor's of science, a bachelor's of arts, or a bachelor's of fine arts. And it does make double majoring a much more realistic possibility for those students who are really wanting to take their art to the next level while also pursuing other interests at JMU. All right, our next question is, I'm going to pass this one on to Scott. It's another question talking about double degree options. This comes from Bonnie, and she's asking, how feasible would it be to do a dual degree program in performance, a bachelor's of music and performance, and a bachelor's of arts in a field within the College of Arts and Letters?
Sure. Bonnie, thanks for the question. You are indeed ambitious. The answer to your question, though, is it is absolutely feasible. We don't always encourage double majors because it's a lot of time, but it is absolutely possible. So if you want to double major in a music subject as well as another major, that is very possible. Just a couple of things to keep in mind, though, when you're thinking about the programs. For those who are listening, maybe music degrees. It is a little bit easier to double major in 2 music degrees, for example, maybe performance and composition, because we share the same core. But when you're adding 2 degrees that have from different schools, just keep in mind that that's going to add classes and that's going to add time to your degree program. Now, there are many ways to accommodate that. For example, taking some summer classes, taking some online courses to catch up, maybe some of your general education courses, but it will add some challenges to your time management. Is it possible? Absolutely.
Yeah, I think our CVPA students are very active in the May-mester period, so that could be a good chance to catch up on some of those classes if you are doing a double major or a double degree program, and coming in with some AP credits or IB credits can also help speed along that possibility if you're looking to do the double degree track, but it may require a little bit of extra time. I'm going to circle back to a question from Brianna. This is for Corinne as well, asking what is industrial design, and can a student minor in that program?
Brianna, it's a good question. Industrial design is a really up-and-coming field, and it's kind of what it sounds like. It's about design thinking and making product design and applied design that's very interdisciplinary. And because it's so intense, there's not a minor in it. It really is a degree with a lot of interdisciplinary components, including engineering and other facets of the university. They're very involved in the X Labs, if you've heard about that. So really a lot of experimental classes with drones and virtual reality and all kinds of things. So it is exciting, but it's not available as a minor.
Great. And the industrial design program is actually a Bachelor's of Science degree, so that makes it unique as well. So you'll be taking a lot of classes in the math areas and cross-disciplinary across engineering and other areas as well. Dennis, I'm going to pass on a question to you. This asks, what are some of the advantages of the JMU Performing Arts compared to other schools around the country, maybe compared to a conservatory program? What makes our programs unique?
Well, there are a couple things. One is that at JMU, you have the general education program. Unlike a lot of conservatory types of programs, it's full, award-winning general education program that helps you build a foundation. Also, all of the programs give you a background in the kind of theory, history, and other areas that help you think really flexibly in a liberal, cross-disciplinary kind of way. So I would think that at JMU, we like to think in the theater area, we don't just create and help develop theater employees, but theater makers, theater thinkers, creators. We have a number of students that have, for instance, started their own theaters and their own dance companies. So there is this kind of maker sort of identity that many of our students have taken on.
Absolutely. I'm going to take this next question coming in from Eric, asking to explain a little bit about the RLCs and what's a part of that. I am actually one of the coordinators for Wayland Hall, our Arts Living Learning community. And Wayland Hall is a unique opportunity at JMU for students in all of the visual and performing arts areas to come together. It's a residence hall for first-year students, and in addition to being very closely proximity to the Forbes Center for the Performing Arts, the Music Building, Duke Hall, and the Studio Center, it also has some really tremendous amenities for our visual and performing artists, including it has a first floor gallery space where students can hang their artwork and get professional photography settings starting in their first year. There are practice rooms. There are 2 practice rooms in the buildings for students to reserve. There's a maker space for students to be able to work on designing props and working on art projects. And the crown jewel of the building is its own recital hall. So the building has a 150-seat recital hall where they put on performances from student groups. We have the theater workshop program, which Dennis can talk about a little bit more, that hosts performances in Wayland Hall. And overall, it gives the students a real sense of community. As a member of the Wayland Hall Arts Living Learning community, you'll also be taking a 1-semester class which explores the connection of the arts with each other and the world at large. So in addition to being in a great close building, it has air conditioning, which is nice, and having a community of other artists that you get to know right away. You're also going to be thinking critically about how the arts make an impact in society. And you'll be meeting with 2 faculty members each week. Those faculty members are from different arts disciplines who will give you assignments. You'll go to see gallery openings, you'll see performances, and you'll really feel ensconced in the arts community right away as being a member of the Arts RLC. The RLC, there are about 150 students who will live in the residential learning community for Wayland Hall. So if you have received a guaranteed offer as a part of your scholarship, congratulations. We're very excited to have you in our Arts RLC community. And for everyone else, we do have an application available, and that just launched yesterday or 2 days ago on April 1st for students to fill that out on the Office of Residence Life Residential Learning Community page. So does anyone else, would anyone else like to chime in? Have any of you guys been a professor for the Arts 100 class or been a part of that community?
I was. Yes, it's so much fun for the students to get to know each other in different majors. And I did the class where we would attend events together and discussions, and just really learned a lot from each other.
That's great. Okay, so we're going to move on. I have another question here from Ryan, and this question is for Corinne. And it's similar to our question from earlier, but what are some of the advantages of the visual arts programs at JMU, specifically compared to other arts programs in the state of Virginia?
Well, just like Professor Beck said, I think the Gen Ed program is really important for the arts. It gives you a well-rounded knowledge that feeds into your major and opens up interdisciplinary possibilities. But aside from that, in studio art, we just have a lot of really hands-on offerings: ceramics, fibers, metals, painting, photography, printmaking, sculpture. And our newly renovated building has high-end equipment spanning from 19th century techniques like lithography for printmaking to high-end laser cutters. So we really have a gamut of processes and techniques for your vocabulary as an artist.
Wonderful. All right, this next question will be for Scott. And this is a question from Blasey, and they were asking a little bit more about a music theory placement test and when that might be available.
Yeah, so our music, make sure I'm unmuted. Our music theory placement tests happen during, well, let me read that again. The theory placement. Okay, I'm wondering if they mean the testing.
For piano placement?
Yeah, so well, similar. Yeah, that happened during the auditions. But then for the theory, you will have information about that from your advisor at your summer springboard orientation. I'm wondering though if we're not asking about the testing out of theory, which is an option here. You can test out of certain classes, and that's going to happen at the beginning of each semester for that class. While we're on the subject of theory, this may be of interest to some people. I saw in the noon session where a question was asked about AP music theory, and I'm not sure if that's going to come up again, but while we're on the subject of theory, we do waive music theory credits for AP. You need to score, however, a 5 on the oral to test out of the first semester of oral theory, and then you need to score a 5 on the written part in order to test out of the first theory class here at JMU.
Okay, thank you very much. This next question is also for Scott. This is a question from Heather, and she would like to know a little bit more about the orchestra program here at JMU.
Absolutely, and Heather, thanks for asking about the orchestra program. We've got a wonderful orchestra program with many opportunities for our string players and wind players. The Symphony Orchestra is our largest string and wind and percussion ensemble that is offered each semester. That is entry by audition, so there's going to be auditions at the beginning of each semester for that. We also offer a chamber orchestra program, which is a smaller chamber string and wind and percussion ensemble. We have several chamber string ensembles as well. There's a unique student-run string orchestra here. I'm forgetting the name of it. Club orchestra. That is designed mainly for non-majors or music ed majors who want to do strings as a secondary instrument, and that's student-led. And I'm going to recommend you reach out to Foster Byers, who is our Director of Orchestral Activities here at JMU. If you have any other questions, he'd be happy to help you out.
That's great. And definitely check out our JMU School of Music page. We have a lot of performances available through the School of Music library, as well as on our SoundCloud page, so you can get a chance to hear what some of these different ensembles sound like before you come here to JMU. The next question I'm going to ask for each of our panelists, and this was a question that we had also in our noon session. I wanted to ask, what are some of the things that you know of that students are doing after graduation with a major in the visual and performing arts? So we'll start with Dennis. What are some of the students doing in the School of Theater and Dance after graduation?
Well, a variety of things. We have performers on Broadway. We have performers on national tours, performers also on many cruise ships, or at least they were until a few weeks ago, throughout the world. And as well as performers in smaller theaters. As I've mentioned, some performers that are creating their own theaters. And we have a number of other areas in which students are successful. Professional lighting designers. We have a student who's the assistant sound designer for Hamilton on Broadway. We have a number of other technical positions that are filled in larger and smaller theaters. We have some students that also pursue dramaturgy or directing. And then we have students that go and do graduate work. We have a couple at Yale right now in the graduate program there, and as well as other graduate programs around the country. On the dance side, we have, as I'd mentioned, some that have created their own companies, as well as a number of students that are either in companies or that have double majored or worked with kinesiology or therapy in some way and are using dance in a lot of interesting applied kinds of ways.
That's great. Corinne, same question. What are some of the things that our students in the School of Art Design and Art History are doing after graduation?
Well, the same answer is very broad. We have students employed in firms and corporations. They might work in galleries or museums. Some launch their own business, maybe doing freelance design work, or have a practicing studio as an artist. A lot of our students get an art education license, which allows them to use their love of art to teach K through 12. And then many go on to top-ranking graduate schools. I just was excited to get a text from an alum yesterday that he got into University of Wisconsin-Madison, and he is super excited. So, yeah, they go in all kinds of directions. And then even within my area of photography, it's so broad what they might do. And often a minor someone might have could lead into again, like possibilities that open up. I had a student who had an environmental studies interest, and so that led her to work that's more environmental related. So it might be at JMU you find other interests that really point your art in a certain kind of direction.
Amazing. And Scott, what are some of the opportunities that our School of Music students are doing after graduation?
Well, I'll stick with the theme of anything. I think we do an excellent job here at JMU preparing our musicians to be professional musicians in the industry. And of course, their major will sometimes point them in the direction where they're going to be employed. We have a very important music education program here at JMU. So a majority of our graduates are going on to teach K through 12. We have an incredible number of our graduates who are now teaching the collegiate level and the professional level as conductors. In the music industry, we are sending folks around the country and around the world to work for recording artists, to work in arts management. We have several folks right now actually working at the Kennedy Center. Working there, we have some people over at Sony. I actually just a couple years ago visited one of our graduates who is helping to run the Wicked show on Broadway. So they're really doing great things. Also, a large majority of our graduates, even regardless of if they're a performance undergrad, are going on to do their master's in performance at some of the top performance schools in the country. The great thing, again, just to summarize, I think for the entire college, we are preparing our students to be prepared artists in whatever field they may go into and be successful in that because of the experience they've had at JMU, the connections they've made.
Definitely. All right, this is another question for Scott, and this comes from Taylor. She wanted to know if you have to audition to declare a music minor.
That is a good question. We do not have to audition to declare a music minor. And just for those who are interested, going kind of back to the double major question, oftentimes it's important, and I'm sure this goes for the other colleges, schools in the college as well, consider a minor. We offer a minor in general music, a minor in jazz studies, a minor in music industry, and a minor in music and human services. Those are 18 credit minors with a core of required courses and then electives. And all you really have to do is apply to the School of Music or the registrar, and you can be in that minor program.
Wonderful. We have a question coming in from Lily, and I'll start by directing this to Dennis, but I might also reach out to Scott and Corinne. Dennis, can you talk a little bit about the teaching licensure program? I know we offer both theater education and dance education, and can you work towards it regardless of your major?
We do have both those programs. You do need to be a major in order to work toward either of those licensures. They ask for additional hours to what the major is. However, when you graduate, you do have the licensure, you have student taught, and we have a number of both dance and theater teachers placed throughout the state and other places in the country.
Great. And Corinne, you mentioned theater art education as a strong area of interest in the School of Art Design, Art History. Can you talk a little bit more about that licensure program?
Right, sure. The best thing to do is, if you know you're going to declare it, is to talk to someone in the area right away. They have some tricks that will help. Like there's a certain psychology class that counts for gen ed, but it's also required for licensure. So if you work with them, they can build it in so that you don't have extra time to fulfill the licensure. Ours is through the BFA program in studio art usually. You can do it through graphic design or through the BA or BS, but typically it's through the BFA. So you also focus on some art form of your own that you want to concentrate in and get the licensure as well.
Yeah, and when I talk to teachers out in the fall semester when I'm traveling, I think that that's one of the things that the art teachers in particular are really passionate about, is that art education is not a major, it's a concentration, and that they are still pursuing the top level of their own artistic mentioned that they are a studio art major, they're a graphic design, industrial design, architectural design major, while also getting this very enriching experience in art education that we have a 100% job placement rate for the last 10 years in art education. So it really does give them the teachers, the school districts in the state of Virginia for sure know that our students are really well prepared and do well upon graduation.
And many continue their own studio art practice. That's one thing about being a teacher. There's often summers off. So some have their own studios and do work weekends or during that break. So they really feel nourished by it, that they have their own area of interest in the arts.
Definitely. And Scott, I'm going to pass this question on to you as well, because there are more music educators who studied at JMU than any other university in the state of Virginia. So I know you can speak very, very passionately about the music ed program we offer.
Sure. Well, we're very proud of our music education program, and kind of like we talked about with the other schools, we are proud that we are training musicians first that are teachers, right? And that is the core of our training. And as far as licensure goes, licensure is, just like with the other schools, ingrained in our curriculum. So if they successfully complete their curriculum and student teaching, licensure is awarded through the state of the Commonwealth of Virginia. And so they will be licensed after student teaching to teach.
Great. I have a question here from Rebecca asking about internships and co-op experience. It starts specifically asking about the industrial design program. So I'll start by asking Corinne, but I know that Dennis can talk a little bit about summer stock opportunities and things for our theater and dance majors as well. But Corinne, can you talk a little bit about internships for students in the design majors or in the School of Art Design and Art History?
There is an opportunity to work and to get that kind of experience. And in fact, some happens during the class experience too. Like I mentioned, the X Labs. Sometimes there are outside partners that are actually part of the class experience that may be giving experience that you could call up on once you graduate. And so most of our areas do have the internship possibility to make those connections and gain resume item and experience.
Great. And Dennis, can you talk a little bit about some of the internship options for theater majors?
Sure. Many of our theater majors do internships in the summer in various ways, whether it's performance. Sometimes companies have junior companies that they have that are essentially intern programs. We also have many that have done so as dramaturgs, as directors in management, and a number of other areas, as well as a number of students that have auditioned through SETC or other forums for summer stock. And therefore, they're doing a lot of performances during the summer.
That's great. So we are running out of time here. We're coming up to our half-hour mark, but I do have one last question here from Kelly that I wanted to pass on to Scott. And can you talk a little bit about how to sign up for the Marching World Dukes and how those auditions will work?
Absolutely. Kelly, thank you for the question. I knew we would not be able to go 30 minutes without bringing up the Marching World Dukes. It's quite simple. At this point, everything's on our website. So you can go to the website right now, jmu.edu/MRD, and there should be a button to click to join. And there will be specific instructions about the process for signing up for the program. But it is simple. You fill out our membership form, and then after that, you will sign up for the class during your summer scheduling appointment with MI Madison. And then for auditions, just briefly, percussion and color guard will audition this year because of the COVID situation. This is a video audition, and again, those details are on our website. And then wind players do not audition to be members of the band. They are going to audition for marching spots during our preseason camp, which happens in August. But again, all that information is on our website. So feel free to go there. And if you have any questions about it or is unclear, just drop me an email.
And Scott, how many members are in the Marching Royal Dukes again?
Depends on the year. 2018 was our biggest year with 535, and last year we were down to 465. So it hovers around 450 members, give or take.
Wow, go Dukes.
Yeah.
All right, everyone. I want to thank you all so much for joining us today. A half hour went by so quickly. We had some tremendous questions from the audience today, so thank you so much for joining us. If we were not able to get to your questions during this panel, please leave your questions under the comments section and we will make sure to respond to those. We will also have more information for our student panels. We'll be doing some student panels for the School of Art, Design, and Art History, the School of Music, and the School of Theater and Dance. Those will be published on the Virtual Choices page very soon, but we'll be planning on doing those at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock on Wednesday, April 8th, Wednesday, April 15th, and April 22nd. We'll be getting started with the School of Art, Design, and Art History on the 8th, the School of Theater and Dance on the 15th, and the School of Music on the 22nd. I also encourage you to check out the JMU Arts official Facebook and Twitter accounts. We'll be posting student stories talking about our Friday feature faculty stories, as well as on our Twitter account, we have student Twitter takeovers. So every day in March and April, the Twitter account is taken over by one of our student ambassadors talking about what to think about for life on campus. So that's a great way to get a real slice of life experience. On behalf of everyone here in the College of Visual and Performing Arts, thank you so much for considering JMU. We are so excited to welcome you to our JMU Arts family. Please stay healthy and please stay safe during these challenging times. Goodbye, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye.
I think we're muted.